Hi guys, welcome to the CATWay. So in this video, we are going to solve our daily set. And before we begin, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Now moving on to the set that we have. So it says that a company has 5 directors, Prajit, Manjit, Charjit, Diljit and Jasjit. Okay. So, okay. Now two of the directors are female. So that means we have 3 male and 3 female directors. Now all the directors have a different age and the annual incomes are 40, 45, 50, 60, 75 in no particular order. Okay. Chalo. Now the director with the least annual income is not the oldest. Okay. And the director with the highest annual income is older than one of the 2 female directors and younger than the other. Okay. Okay. So the highest wala is older than one of the 2 females and younger than the other. Okay. Now the absolute difference between annual incomes of Manjit and Daljit is 15, right? So absolute difference between Manjit and Daljit is 15. So you get only 2 possibilities for it, right? You get only 2 possibilities for it. One could be their incomes are 45 and 60 in any order, and the other possibility is that the incomes are 60 and 75 in any order. Okay. So this is done. Now, the annual income of Charjit is not the highest among the 5 directors, and the annual income of older female director is more than that of the younger female director. Okay. Now, Manjit is the youngest among the male directors, and Jasjit is the oldest of the female directors. Whereas Prajit was older than both Manjit and Jasjit. All right, guys. Now, the annual income of one among Prajit, Daljit, and Jasjit is the average of the annual incomes of the other two. Okay. Chalo. So let's say if you take that 40 is the income. Okay. Ruko. See, annual income of one of them. So let's say the one of them which we are talking about is 40. So that income is average of the income of other two. So the having 40 as that income, having 40 as the average of other two incomes is never possible, right? So that's out of scope. Then having 45 of the other two, it is possible. So let's write down the possible cases that we get. Okay. So what we have is for P, D and J we have it, right? So one possibility is 40, 45 and 50, right? The other possibility is that if 50 is the average, so that is 40, 50 and 60 are the incomes of these 3 people in any order. And the third possibility is of having 45, 60 and 75. Okay. Now let us check the first case. Okay. So if this is the first case, you know that between M and D, one guy is 45 and another one is 60. Take one guy is 45 and the other person is 60, right? Now because D is available in both the places, okay, if D is available in both the places, so D will be equal to 45, right? D is going to be equal to 45 in that case. Okay. Chalo. Acha, if D is 45, then what is happening is that M is equal to 60, right? If D is 45, then M is equal to 60, right? So M is 60 now. Chalo, let's write it down that D is equal to 45, M is equal to 60, right? And P and J are one among 40 and 50, right? So that means the one who is left, C, will be equal to 75. Whereas we have been given that annual income of Charjit is not the highest among the 5 directors. So taking this case is not possible, right? Let's talk about this particular case. So if you're talking about this particular case, you see that 45 and 60 both are available here, and 60 and 75 is also available, right? So if M and D are 45 and 60, okay, M and D are 45 and 60, 45 and 60 cannot belong over here. Either D can take any one of the value, but then P and J will take the other. And similarly, if they are 60 and 75, then also it is not possible for some other two people to have the same row. So having this case is also not possible. That means this is the only possible case that they are 40, 50 and 60. They are 40, 50 and 60. That's the only possible case that you have. Take. In that case, what you will say is that the value of D is 60. Take. The value of D in that case will be 60. Okay. Chalo, let's see what else do we have. Acha. Value of D is 60. Okay, value of D is 60. Let's say M ke liye, now there are two possibilities. Either it could be 45 or it could be a 75, right? It could be a 45 or it could be a 65, 75. What you have is J and C, right? Acha, P and J in that case would be divided among 40 and 50. Okay, P and J will be divided among 40 and 50. And in that case, C will be divided among 45 and 75, right? But as you know, C cannot have 75. So the only possible case for C is 45. And in that case, M will be equal to 75. Okay, in that case, M will be equal to 75. So now we know what are the values of the annual incomes for these people. Okay, chalo, let's see what else do we have. Acha, let's make the division between male and female as well, as much as possible, to whatever extent we can. Okay, so one thing is given that Manjeet is the youngest among male. Okay, so 1 2 3 1 and 2. Take Manjeet is the youngest among the male, and Jasjeet is the older among the two female directors. Okay, Jasjeet is the older among the two female directors. Take, and we have been given that Prajit was older than both Manjeet and Jasjeet. So what we can definitely say is that one of these positions is going to be occupied by P, that is certain, right? One of the positions is going to be occupied by P, that is certain. Now what you have is you have a D and you have a D and you have a C left. Okay, chalo, then let's read them again. So the director with the least annual income, okay, so least annual income is one among P and J, is not the oldest, right? So okay, so what you know is that the director with the least annual income is not the oldest. Okay, so that is done. Okay, director with highest annual income is older than one of the two female directors. Okay, so what has been given is director with the highest annual income, that is M we are talking about, is older than one of the two female directors and younger than the other. So he is going to be older than the second person and is going to be younger than J, that is certain. Okay, then what we have is the absolute difference that we have done. Annual income of Charjit is not the highest, done. Then the annual income of older female is more than that of the younger female. Okay, so what you have is, guys, see, J is over here, right? Acha, J ki so it's more than the annual income of the older one is more than that of the younger one, right? So annual income of J can never be 40, right? Because then it will never be higher than any of the people. So J is going to take 50 and P is going to take 40 in that case. Okay. Acha. Now you see that J has to be higher. Take, J has to be higher than the other female director. Take. Acha. Now talk about what are the possibilities. What are the possibilities for the other female director? So the other possibilities are D and C, right? D and C. And what you see is that it's never possible for D. Okay, it's never possible for D to be sorry, what were we doing? It just slipped out of mind. Yeah, so annual income of older is more than that of the younger. Okay, now the younger one among them is either D or C, right? And the annual income of J has to be greater than that, right? So annual income of J can only be greater than C and not D, and hence C will be occupying this position. That means D is one of the other male directors. Okay, chalo. Then what do we have is that the director with the least annual income. So director with least annual income is P, that is 40 lakhs, and for him he cannot be the oldest. So that means P is not going to occupy the first position, P is going to occupy the second position. Now the set is complete. So let's see what the questions are. So what is the annual income of Prajit? So Prajit ki annual income is 40 lakhs, that is option number A. Now what is the annual income of the oldest of the 5 directors? So oldest one is D and his income is 60. So option number C. And what is the absolute difference in lakhs between the annual income of the younger female director and the youngest male director? So that is between M and C, it is asking the difference. So M and C, the difference is of 30 lakhs, as you can see. So option number B becomes the right answer. So with this, the set is complete and it was a good set, guys, and hope you have understood the set well. Thanks for watching the video.